want to take a few minutes of my own to give you some updates on what we've been doing at the Flagler County Democratic Party. I don't very often get to talk to people that I rarely see. I see volunteers, the same ones, great, thankful, day in and day out, but I wanted to also share with you some of the things we've been doing. You know that our mission at the Democratic Party is to recruit candidates and to get Democrats elected. There's all kinds of ways that we get Democrats elected. We recruit candidates, we reach out to voters, we try to get people to sign up to vote by mail, lots of messaging and various ways of doing that. We tried something new this year. We tried joining the digital age. And when most of us are in our 70s, that's a little trickier than it sounds. So, but a couple of things we have done is we have created a multi-purpose theme or logo, which you're seeing there, called Get Election Ready. If you get our newsletters, you see that in our newsletters. We also created a little jingle through AI. And I will try to play that jingle for you now. Thank you for your patience. See that? It says jingle.
Get election ready, get election ready, get election ready, plan to vote. Get election ready, get election ready, get election ready, plan to vote.
Amazing what technology can do. I gave it the words and out popped that music. One other thing we did is we have started to pay for some ads. And the ads are actually posts inside specific people's Facebook feeds and Instagram feeds, if I'm talking your language. I fed our consultant 13,000 email addresses the other day. He gave those to Facebook, and Facebook has been using algorithms and has been slowly inserting our very first video post into Instagram and Facebook. I'm going to show you that video. And these are, where's Ken and Sherry? They're not wanting to stand up. I see. Sherry's over here. Ken's back there. And Al, our videographer and editor, is behind that camera back there. So here's our first video.
Great. And I'm Ken. We are Flagler Democrats. Flagler County has an election on August 18th.
There will be races that only Republicans and Democrats can vote in.
There are two very important races voters from all parties, including MPAs, can vote in.
A list of the candidates and upcoming candidate forums are on our website.
Check it out and start to get
Election ready.
I guess it was right there. So, 4,000 as of mid-afternoon. We have a consultant because there's no way we could have done this by ourselves. 4,061 people were reached with this video and some rewatched it, so 6,231 since 5 o'clock 2 days ago. I sent them a list of Democrats and what we call LL NPAs, left-leaning NPAs, because Delana, Kathy, are not going to win elections without some NPAs. And we have identified over the last, I'm going to say 3 years, we have a data team, and they have done one heck of a job through testing and messaging, finding out which NPAs are left-leaning. We treat them like Democrats. Every time I send a message via email or via a newsletter or in a text, I include, and I direct the data team to include not just Democrats, but these LL, left-leaning NPAs, as Democrats. So they were included in this post also. The consultant said that our cost efficiency was very high, and that means that, you know how it costs $1 million for an ad during the Super Bowl, right? That's because there's so much competition during the Super Bowl. There must not be very much competition for political ads right now in our locale, because we're getting this pretty cheap. For some reason, Instagram is more widely seen and liked than Facebook. And he says, compliments us on our data. He said our data is very clean, meaning we have been working, like I said, I know that Lee Schaefer and I have been working since 2016, working to clean up Democrat emails in our voting system. So we've got 10 years of voting of working on cleaning up phone numbers and emails in our voting system. And he said it's the cleanest he's seen from anybody who's done any work with him. They're not being rejected, they're good, and they are the right people. And he told me today the advertising is reaching voters efficiently and building familiarity with our Get Election Ready message as we move closer to Election Day. So I'm excited that that ad has been seen 6,231 times. We have a sequence planned through the general election, various messaging. Some of the messaging will be video. Some of the messaging will be just static photographs, various things for various purposes. And most of the other videos or posts will be more measurable. This was just did you know there's an election coming up? Next week we start on vote by mail, trying to get people to sign up to vote by mail. So we'll know which of those people that we send messages to have not signed up to vote by mail, and then after we post this message, we'll go check again. So it'll be more measurable then. So we're going to do some testing, and I'm just proud to say, finally, we've moved into the digital age. These ads are shockingly inexpensive, but we didn't budget for them. So if something's inexpensive, but it's not in your budget, it doesn't really matter, does it? So tonight, if you can help us, and I know this is a weird economic time, if you can help us, we've got back there a donate table. You can donate with cash, credit card, or check. Debbie's waving her arms now. And we would love to have your help. And if at home, you can do actblue.com. Anything you can do to help us pay for this new digital outreach would be appreciated. So, I'm done, and let's get on with the process this evening. We have 5 fabulous candidates you're going to hear from. 1 for our State House, Susanna Lavelle. 4 who are primary candidates for the U.S. Congressional District, Congressional District 6. They will each have 7 minutes to introduce themselves and their top priorities. After they've all spoken, we will have a panel up here. The panel will be members of the president of the Palm Coast, or the Flagler Beach Democratic Club, the organizer of the Flagler Young Dems, and the vice president of the Palm Coast Democratic Club. The candidates will be asked a couple of questions. They'll be able to give 2-minute answers. Then after all those questions and answers are done, they'll each have an opportunity for a wrap-up of 2 minutes. And if there's any time left, we have to vacate this room at 8:30. You don't gotta go home, but you gotta get the heck out of here at 8:30. Then you can stay if there's any time left, talk to the candidates, talk to me, ask any questions of anyone you want. Mary Craig, Mark Ryder, and Chris Gurley, I already mentioned them. So, candidates, do you have any questions about the process? Got it? Okay. Our first up tonight, by the way, we also have a table up here for Delana Gallery, who is our candidate.
I guess it's you.
That's Lori Robinson sitting there on behalf of.
I'm eating sugar. You go.
And we have Kathy Moon here with her daughter, Sarah, back there, on the city council. And Sarah probably has her dog.
Yes, she does.
Yes, she does. So, they are not speaking tonight, but they do have information. They are two, Delana and Kathy are two Democrats, local Democrats, who are running for office. So, okay, so we get on with our evening. Democratic candidate for Florida State House, first up, Ms. Susanna Pavel from South St. Augustine, our Florida State District. Encompasses all of Flagler and some of South St. Augustine. And Susanna lives in South St. Augustine.
Hi. Thank you for being here today. My mom asked if this was liquor. It's not. So, I'm Susanna Pavel. My husband Brian and I moved to St. Augustine 26 years ago. We built our life and we built our businesses here. I am running for Florida House District 19 because I'm fed up about what's happening in the state of Florida, and I'm tired of complaining about a lot of stuff. And I'd like to try to help fix what's broken. The election is in November. I do not have a primary, and I just wanted to get that out because of the paperwork. So I am not a career politician. I am a small business owner. As a small business owner, I solve problems. I balance budgets, unlike the legislature, and I listen and I help get things done. I think that our legislators are here to help us and not waste our money on political stunts like painting over the rainbow crosswalks, destroying New College, Alligator Alcatraz, all those things. We need our legislators to actually help work for us. I'd like to start by saying Happy Pride Month. Pride is a celebration, and it's also a reminder that everybody deserves safety, dignity, and freedom to live without fear. So District 19 encompasses southeastern St. Johns County, where I live, and all of Flagler County. And I've been speaking to people for the last few months, and many people from whoever, Republican, Democrat, Independent, they're all feeling the same frustrations that I feel. Everything costs more. Home insurance is through the roof. Car insurance, health insurance, don't even get me started. We see traffic in places we've never had it. There's flooding, clear cutting, and decisions are being made by people who don't live with the consequences. We pay our taxes for the public good. Our government is supposed to work for us. And this is the social contract. And many of our legislators are not remembering that they work for us. So when I'm elected, I will fight for the people of District 19. So tonight, I'm going to talk about issues and solutions. So first is affordability and the Florida Homestead Amendment. Nearly half of Florida households can't afford the basics, and people want relief. I totally get that. They want lower taxes, they sound great, but this amendment will defund firefighters, it will defund police, we'll have fewer services, and slower response time, and also fewer parks, which I think DeSantis would be really excited about. That's why I'm voting no on this new Homestead Amendment. We need targeted relief. We need incomes on fixed income, they need relief. Working families, first-time home buyers. I bought my first home when I was in my 20s, and now the average home buyer age is 40, which is just appalling. We need to close the corporate tax loopholes, and we can recover $2.4 billion a year if we literally just start closing these loopholes so that Disney, Target, Home Depot, Chevron pay their fair share in taxes. There's a bill that died in committee, but we can resurrect it. And if we get a new majority in the House and also in the legislature, we can pass bills like this to get money easily. Regarding home rule and growth. So home rule is in the Florida Constitution, and it gives local voices and local decisions to us. And Tallahassee, the legislators, have been stripping this away year after year, yet we're still called the free state of Florida. We need to have infrastructure before development, and developers, they need to pay the true cost of growth. We don't need to put that on residents after they move in. So I will fight to restore home rule. I will also fight to fully fund Florida Forever, which got no money this year. And also, we need to protect our land, our water, our wildlife, because that's what makes this area so special to everybody. Regarding schools and healthcare, for the last 3 years, Florida has ranked 50th in teacher pay. We need to fix that. Public schools are the great equalizer. They keep our neighborhoods and home values stable. Public, private, home, charter schools, they all have to follow the same standards to have the same results. Raise your hand if you know someone that doesn't have health insurance today. We shouldn't have that in Florida. Florida turns down $10 to $11 billion a year in federal Medicaid expansion, and we could get this money. And there is actually going to be a ballot amendment in 28. It looks like they're pushing for that. So it could come in 28, after 28, but I would like to see that $10 billion come into Florida sooner. So why isn't the government working for us? Follow the money. The legislators took $14 million the day before the last legislative session began in one day. That was developers, big business. FPL got a $7 billion rate hike. That was also approved by our legislators, and DeSantis's PAC got $250,000. So you do the math. I want real reform, and the government needs to work for working people. Affordability, clean water, safe roads, strong schools, protecting nature are not partisan issues. Parents, retirees, working, and young people should be able to thrive in Florida. So I will show up. I will hold town halls. I will listen and answer the phone. I will fight for real solutions on the House floor. Please visit my website. It's SusannaPavel.com. You can go over to my table. You can sign up and, look over there. You can follow me on social. Please donate to my campaign. And just help. If you want to volunteer, I'd love to have you. So I'm Susanna Pavel. This is our home. This is our fight. And I would be honored to earn your vote. Thank you.
Our next person, while we're getting ready, is Rob Cook. I have a special message from the Florida Democratic Party chair for all of the U.S. District 6 people, if I can figure out how to show it to them.
Hey, Flagler County, it's Nikki Freed, your chair. I just wanted to send this little video tonight to say thank you to all of our candidates who decided to run this cycle. Because we know what's on the line. We talk to our friends, we talk to our family members, we talk to our neighbors. And everybody is struggling in this moment. And so the fact that you are willing to stand up and fight for them, to fight for your communities, to make sure that people can afford to live here in the state of Florida and have a government that works for them. So thank you. Make sure you keep this clean, because at the end of the day, we are all on the same side and fighting for the people of our state. Thank you for running, and I look forward to seeing you all on this campaign cycle.
That was Nikki Freed, chair of the Florida Democratic Party.
Good to see you. Good evening. How are y'all doing? Let's get excited. This is so important, and I want to I'm a person, I feed off energy, so I'm an energy person. And I'm so excited about these midterms. I'm just excited to be able to run for office. I'm excited because for the work that you all do at the polls and knocking on doors, canvassing, and that really makes me excited and understand why I decided to run for office. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Rob Cooper, and I'm from Ocala. But before I came to Ocala, I was raised in South Carolina in a small town called Lakeview. If you've ever been up 95 and been to Dillon County, you saw south of the border, that's my county. And in that community, taught me a lot about service. Taught me a lot about treating people like you want to be treated and love thy neighbor. And I had a strong role model in that. My mom is a pastor, and I got 5 sisters and 2 oldest brothers. And so I'm the baby of the family. And so I had a lot of great people, pour into me and show me that. And then I think about that small community is that everybody knew everybody. And we took care of each other. Then when I was 17, I joined the Marine Corps. I stood on the yellow footprints in Parris Island, South Carolina, and I got there at 4 o'clock in the evening because we were so close to Parris Island, and I had to wait till everybody get there at 11 o'clock, and I sat in a room listening to all this yelling and screaming, and that's where my journey began. The Marine Corps taught me the ultimate sacrifice is to put service before self. And then in 2006, I deployed to Iraq, and in that time frame, we went over there and we went to the worst city that was in Iraq, and it was on a Time magazine that Ramadi was a city that they forgotten. They said that's a lost cause. And my battalion commander, which taught me how to lead from the front, is he really let us be Marines. And I had five guys under me that was under my care. And so, but I think about that time, and I think about how we were over there and we didn't know why we were there, but we still went and we fulfilled the mission. And I think about my brothers and sisters right now that's on active duty, that's sitting on ships and not really, they just over there trying to, fight for this democracy and fight for the freedoms that we have today. And then when I got in the Marine Corps in 2008, I lost purpose. And that's when the battle started. I battled with my mental health, and then that led me to substance use. But today, I'm a person in active and sustained recovery. And then in 2015, I moved down here to Florida. I moved down here to Florida because I met my beautiful wife, and I went chasing after her. And I moved down here to Florida. And when I moved here to Florida, and I'm a person with integrity, and I don't hide nothing from anybody. I changed the environment, but didn't change the behavior. And I spent 7 months inside Hernando County Jail, and which was the best thing that happened to me. Because while I was sitting inside that jail, I realized what was my purpose. Because I kept seeing so many people leave that jail, and they would come back in like 2 weeks, and I couldn't figure it out. And I said, why they can't be successful on the outside? And I think about that young man that sat in front of me and sat at the day room at the table, and he just asked me questions about the outside, and I helped him navigate on the outside and answer all his questions. And before he got released, he said, promise me that you start something on the outside for guys like me, because you get us. And so I started a nonprofit. I started a nonprofit that we help people get on the road to recovery from substance use. And we started a nonprofit, me and my wife, from our kitchen table, and that grew to 9 counties, and we have 24 and wonderful team members. And I oversee a $2.5 million budget, which is growing. And in that journey of running a nonprofit, I got a chance to advocate and work with legislators up in Tallahassee on bills that support people that's in recovery. And so, and in that time frame, I sit down with secretaries, I sit down with cabinet members and really advocate for things. And so starting a nonprofit really showed me that people are being overlooked, people are fighting and they need somebody to fight with them. And so I decided to run for office. I'm gonna tell you why I decided to run for office. Is because today I had a chance, and me and Steve was in St. Augustine, and I had a chance to celebrate the memory of 16 rabbis that fought with Dr. Martin Luther King back in the 1960s, and they were fighting for a guy like me to be able to run for office. And so that's why I'm running for office. I'm running for office for that single mom that sits in front of me that wants to rent a home but don't have the necessary income, and the resources are not allowing her to do that. And so she has to settle to go and stay in a hotel room. I'm running for office because that senior that called me and said, hey, I don't have enough on my Social Security retirement. What should I do? And we have to get you to the food pantry, but you can't utilize the food pantry because you make too much Social Security retirement. I'm running for office for the gentleman that was standing aside my recovery center that was struggling with mental health, and nobody knew how to handle him, and the only thing we had to do was call Ocala PD to pick him up. I'm running for office because people need to be seen. I'm running for office because working class people are feeling overlooked, and we have legislators and we have a congressman that is catering to one person, and he's not representing everybody in Florida 6th District. I'm running for office because I care about people. I know how to serve. I did this. I'm doing the work now. Day one, I can hit the ground running, and I will not forget you. I will not get up there and lose myself and you never see me. I will not be bought and paid. I will not lose my integrity because what I've been through and what I have seen has built me for this time. So if you want to stand with this campaign, if you want to support this campaign, please go to robcooperforcongress.com. I would love your support. Thank you.
So thank you, everyone, and thank you, Rob. It was an interesting start to our day to be at a commemoration where rabbis came to St. Augustine from all over the United States at the urging of Martin Luther King. And to see that unity that we saw between the cause of the people who are oftentimes persecuted because of their religion, along with people who are oftentimes persecuted because of their race, was really humbling. And I'm not ashamed to admit that I had tears in my eyes for part of the presentation. It was really an emotional event. So I'm here to, first of all, thank you for participating in the process. You know, we live in the oldest democracy in the world, and yet that democracy is under pretty much frontal assault at this point. You know, the constitutional republic that we live in was built on a system of checks and balances. And the problem with that system today is that it's not working. Some people are doing their job. The Democratic members of the legislature are doing their job, and the federal judiciary, except for the Supreme Court, are doing their job. Everybody else is not doing their job. And it's really very strange that the Supreme Court decided to give Trump unlimited presidential powers, and at the same time the Supreme Court has decided that the rules that apply to federal judiciary do not apply to them. So there's a big challenge for our constitutional democracy right now, and I want to talk a little bit more about that. The other thing I want to talk about is the reason that probably 65% of us are in this room right now is because of Randy Fine. And that's really what we're here for. And so what I want you all to think about today is you're going to meet four very qualified, well, you already met a great candidate in Susanna, but you're going to meet four, I think, very qualified candidates in this race. And I would suggest, and I've had the good fortune to be in other events with them before, and I'm very impressed with them. The question that I would suggest that you ask yourself after tonight is, which is the candidate you think is most likely to defeat Randy Fine? Because at the end of the day, that's what we're going to have to be able to do. So President Obama, I worked on his 2008 campaign, said the first rule of politics is knowing what you believe. So I'm going to tell you a little bit today about what I believe. So a little bit about my background. I'm originally from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. My brother has lived here in the state for over 40 years. I've lived here for over 10 years in Palm Coast, so I'm local. I live here in town. I've been a registered Democrat the whole time. I vote in every election cycle by mail-in ballot, and nobody's taken that away from me. Nobody's taken a mail-in ballot away from me. We will fight that. So I've had executive positions at Ford Motor Company in their leadership development program. I worked at Gallo Winery. I worked at Treasury Wine Estates, a lot of other businesses along the way. I have an undergraduate degree from Duke University with a major in political science. I also have a law degree from the University of Tennessee, and I also have a MBA from Anderson at UCLA, where I concentrated in marketing and entrepreneurial studies. I'm the owner and brewer of Alcatraz Brewing, so many of you may have had my beer. Thank you very much. A few people have had it. My beers are distributed statewide. My business is not a huge business, but I'm widely available, but not a big seller, to put it that way. The beers are available at Universal Studios, available at Disney property, ABC, select ABCs, including the one here in town, all the Total Wines in the state. And then I got the name Alcatraz Brewing because I do the Alcatraz swim every year. So I was recognized this past year as being the only person to have successfully completed the swim for 21 consecutive years, and I'll be doing it again this year as well. So I want to talk a little bit about affordability. We only have 7 minutes, so I'm just going to do a few minutes here very quickly. The biggest piece of affordability actually surprisingly comes from the tax code. And any of you who have not or would like to read The Second Estate by Ray Madoff, it's a fascinating book. But at the end of the day, right now, the average one of us in this room is paying 14.5% in federal income taxes out of our total earnings. Billionaires are paying less than 7%. If you literally just flip those two numbers, the federal government would have almost the exact same amount of money, and the affordability crisis that many of us are experiencing and that we know people who are experiencing right now would completely flip. I mean, that's not the only thing that we could do, but that's a very important thing. In addition, we have to reinstate the healthcare subsidies. People are losing healthcare. It's an epidemic. By the end of 2027, 15 million Americans will have lost their healthcare. So we've got to do something about that. Briefly about the war. So his book was called The Art of the Deal, Little Donny Boy. And so this is the deal that he worked out, right? So under Trump, we have a war. Under Obama, we didn't. Under Trump, the Strait of Hormuz was closed. Under Obama, it was not. Under Trump, there were tens of thousands of casualties, mostly amongst Iranians. Under Obama, we didn't have that. Under Trump, we spent $100 billion. Under Obama, we did not. Under Trump, we achieved record gas prices. Under Obama, we did not. Is there international support for a deal? Under Trump, no. Obama, yes. And is there nuclear ratification? Under Trump, no. Obama, yes. Briefly, because I know I've got a little bit of time left, social media and gambling. These are issues that I think are very important, especially for our younger generation. You know, it's not all about those of us in the room. It's also about our children, our grandchildren, and what's going to be the future of this country. The $375 million verdict is just the tip of the iceberg against these social media companies. Another great book to read is the one I've got up here, Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt. But what's happening is our children are going from a discovery-based childhood, where they went out and played in their neighborhood, to a defensive-based childhood, where they're afraid of what's going to come up on their phone. And that is a complete paradigm shift, and it's led to all kinds of social anxiety disorders, all kinds of problems. I also want to talk briefly about gambling. In 1973, there was one place in the United States that you can gamble. That was Las Vegas, Nevada. It's now something you can do almost everywhere. 18% of all minors in the world are gambling on a regular basis right now, and we have the dubious distinction in the United States of leading the world at 40%. 40% of our minors are gambling regularly. 90% of it's on the phone, and that's gambling that they do on a regular basis. So I don't have time for the rest of it. We'll talk about Randy Fine later, but I just want to thank you for your time, and I appreciate your interest in listening. Thank you.
I look good no matter where you put me. How y'all doing today? Good, y'all, family. Thank you for coming here. We got 7 minutes, so I have to put everything in 7 minutes because normally it takes us like 10, 15 minutes. So I'm gonna give you some time. Thank you, Flagler County, for putting this together. This is probably the last time you guys are going to see all 4 of us here together because the election is 2 months away. 2 months away. And that's very important. You guys have a very important job to do in literally 2 months. 2 months. You got a very important job to do. You have to choose who you want to represent you in Washington, D.C. But not only who can represent you in Washington, D.C., but who is the best person to defeat Randy Fine. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. And how can you do that? How can you pick somebody out of 4 different gentlemen from different backgrounds? Well, you go based off history, because history don't lie. So since that's the best tool that we have, let me tell you a little bit about myself. And I literally have to scrunch things in because I did so much in my life. I am a husband first. Well, I'm a father first, but I'm also a husband. I got 5 beautiful children that's behind you, but I also have a 6th child. We adopted her when she was about 12 years ago, and now she gave me an early granddaughter, so now I'm a 35-year-old grandparent, so thank you for that. Yeah, that's it. But I was born and raised in one of the strongest democratic cities there is, and everybody knows the city, New York City, right? And I'm a proud Democrat. I've been a Democrat my whole life. I've never switched my values to go with the political agenda. I believe what I believe in, and I stand strong to that every single day. But I bring up New York City because New York City is giving us proof right now that when you elect a leader who's actually for the people and not for power or money, things will get done. In 6 months, he did things that mayors, go ahead, I'll clap for that too. Yeah, because in 6 months he did what many of them couldn't accomplish in 4 years or 8 years, right? And so these are the values that although I wasn't born and raised in Florida, I didn't choose to be born and raised in New York City. My mom chose that for me. But I chose Florida because, first of all, one, I was tired of the snow, right? But Florida is a great state. We just need to make it better. And we can bring those values here. So let me tell you a little bit about myself other than that. In New York City, I met my wife when we was young in church. We've been together since we was in junior high school. And now we're here 5 kids later. Yes, that's a blessing. At a young age, I always knew about public service. So I started volunteering at church. And then I started getting interested in EMS because my godmother was an EMT, worked with 9/11 and all that good stuff. So I started volunteering at 13 at the Bedford Stuyvesant Volunteer Ambulance Corps. And then when I turned 18, I got my EMT card. And from 18 all the way to 2017 when I moved to Florida, I worked in EMS in one of the worst places in the South Bronx. If you ever been to New York City, you've been in the South Bronx, you understand what I'm talking about. Now, imagine being a nurse on wheels doing that. It's a very hard job. But in between there, I didn't only do that. Me and my wife started a nonprofit to help homeless people, homeless veterans. Anything that we can think of, we gave back to our community. Even in between that, I got elected to 2 school boards, the Parent-Teacher Association, and we know it as a school board down here in Florida, but it's called the District Education Council in New York City. That's what I did. I did nothing else but just serve the people. I got recognized by New York City, the New York State, for the tremendous work that me and my family has been doing. And then we moved to Florida. And like I said, the only thing I knew was serving the people. So what did I do? I got into law enforcement. I wanted to change the narrative. I wanted to let people know that not all police officers are bad, because they're not. ICE agents, we'll talk about that later. But police officers, they're not all bad. I worked as a cop for almost 10 years and never pepper sprayed anybody, never tased anybody, and never shot anybody. I used the most powerful tool that I ever had, is my words. And it worked 99% of the time. Because I believe that a lot of people that commit crimes has an underlying issue that the government can fix by mental health or just affordability. Most people steal because they have something that they want to achieve, like they're hungry. They got medical bills. These are things that we're going to fight for in Washington as Democrats that we always stand up for. Yes, we always going to fight for universal health care, universal child care, affordability, the right to choose who you want to love. It's so much stuff that this administration that is attacking, but it's more than that. They're attacking our core constitutional values right now, and we must not stand for that. And so we need a fighter that has been fighting his entire life, that can look Donald Trump in the eye and say, no more. Randy Fine, you gotta go, because they will attack you with everything they have. They already have been. They already have been. 3 months ago, I was arrested for standing up to a MAGA at a protest. And he went to the police department and lied. These are the things that they're going to do because they are scared. They were districting because they're scared. They're taking away a Voting Rights Act because they're scared. Because when the people get together, things change. And that's why you see everything happening in Tennessee. You see all these things happening all around the country. They recently arrested Angie Nixon here in Florida for standing up and sitting in an office that she rightfully belonged to because they are scared of the movement that we are building. So I'm letting you guys know in 2 months today, I want you guys to make sure you register to vote. Grab your family and friends by the ear, pull them, because my grandmother used to do it to me, it works. Grab them by the ear, take them down to that ballot box. But if you don't go to the ballot, make sure you bold in your name real good on that vote by mail, like we used to do on the SAT test, and send it in and make sure it gets there, because you can track it. But we need a fighter in Washington. We need to take money out of politics. It's so much we have to do. But it starts with somebody that you guys know that's going to not bow down and cave to this administration and that blood money and genocide that's happening in Gaza. We got to get rid of it. So I want to thank you guys for letting me talk today. I only got 7 minutes. I did a little crunch as best as I can. But I'll be back in the table over there and talk to me later. Thank you.
You don't have to blow that one up. How are you? So my name is Eric Yonks. I'm a third-generation Floridian. I've been in this part of Florida my entire life. I grew up over in Citra, currently live in Ormond Beach. This place is truly a part of me. Like, I truly, truly love this part of Florida. And that's been missing in our representation. You know, we've had a form of disconnected representation that's been growing and festering for decades. You know, and it starts small, but it starts with dividing us. And right now, we are so divided that we have one of the worst representatives around that actually represents us in Randy Fine. We can all agree on that, and I don't need to go into details of who he is, because that's going to take up too much of my precious time in this. But it is absolutely appalling that he represents us. He represents me, my family. It's absolutely appalling. And you know, then we look at where our country is right now and the things we are facing. The fact that we have in our own communities right now, veterans and seniors being forced from their homes because their lot rents got raised, doubled, tripled. We have Floridians just trying to get by, maxing out credit cards, savings, going into debt just to afford gas and groceries. We have people in our neighborhoods that are afraid to go outside because of the color of their skin, the accent of their voice, because they choose to love or identify as someone else. They're scared. We are aligning our country with another country that is committing war crimes and genocide right now. This is the state of our country, and we need to start discussing. I have not even discussed voting rights being stripped away, women's rights being stripped away. We're going back in time. And the key to this right now is we have to be honest about it. We have to be clear in what we're talking about. That is the only way that we will be able to make any type of change. Because right now, we need regular people starting to step up. A little bit about myself. I never been in politics before. I started when I was 18 in retail. Started with Target, worked my way up as a cart attendant to start managing stores. Worked from Target, Toys R Us, Dick's Sporting Goods for 20 years. Retail is amazing. It's one of the main drivers, main workforce in our district, retail and service industry. It's one of the things that really everyone should do at one point in their life. Really understand how to connect with people. You know, retail taught me a lot of things. One of the majors is leadership. What good leadership looks like and what bad leadership looks like, and the impacts of bad leadership can have on a store, on a team, on a community. They're huge. And you know, when I look around right now, I see that one of the largest problems we have is a failure in leadership. Go anywhere. Go to a city or county council meeting right now and stand up for something that you believe in. Stand up for development, water. That's a huge issue right here. What happens? Nothing. Deaf ear gets turned to you. There's no one standing up for you right now. And that is one of the largest problems in our political system. You know, yes, we have an affordability crisis. We really do. As I said earlier, we have people going into debt. But it goes further than that. And that's where we need to start stepping in. And that's where we have to understand that the middle class, the working class is being crippled, being crushed. And we need systemic change in order to make this happen. In order to get true affordability, we actually need really true accountability within our government. And that is the first priority of mine whenever I get into office, is accountability. And where that comes from is get the money out of our political system. We need our representatives to actually represent us, not the big donors that are in their pockets, not the foreign lobbies that are in their pockets that we're seeing now. We need to start representing us. We need to have true accountability. Then we can start focusing on the things to get true affordability within our country. You know, that means overturning Citizens United, banning stock trading. We're seeing that left and right now. You know, changing the lobbying loop that we're seeing. We have to make these changes. The second big priority for me is bringing money back home. Our infrastructure is crumbling all around us right now. It's on the way to this overdevelopment we're seeing. We have AI data centers coming in. You know, we are in a crisis, and if we do not get money back home, what is going to happen? Much less talking about property taxes being removed. I mean, I see some of these cities, municipalities are going to have tens to millions of dollars that are gone. How are they going to afford this to rebuild our infrastructure? They're not going to. And we need a representative that understands these things, that sees it, that has been here for years to see how this has changed and the growth that it is. And the third big thing for me that I really want to talk about that gets not a lot of attention is AI. We have to start really regulating this. And that is with data centers. That's a moratorium on data centers so we could pause where this is at and so we can understand the impacts. We need environmental protections. We need to also understand what worker rights are with that and worker protections and what happens when industries go under and with those workers and where are they going to go? What is our country going to look like in 5 years if we don't protect it now? These are the three major issues I see that are crippling us and that I will tackle when I get into Washington. We need a representative that actually understands and is here on the ground and that is with the people and that really wants to just get to work. Right now, we have a disconnected representative that does not care. And we have to change that. And that's where everyone in this room has an opportunity. And please make sure you understand this. You have an opportunity to affect a huge change this year. And that's getting out to vote, and that's getting Randy Fine out of office. And it will happen. And all of you will be able to do that this year. So I appreciate your time. Look forward to any questions, and let's get this going.
Hey, I'm Chris Gurley. I'm starting the Flagler Young Democrats here. And I'm pretty close supporting myself, so I'm trying to find more young people to get involved around here. So I have two questions for the party, but I came with a few questions myself I want to ask. I have two. How do you plan to start tackling the housing affordability crisis at the state level, where Democrats have failed to hold a majority since 1996?
I'm not sure the best way to do this. For the housing and affordability crisis, we do need to have good development. We need to have, I would like to see more, the word is not, more apartment buildings and more affordable housing, which keeps on getting ignored in St. Johns County specifically because people don't want to have denser housing, but I think that that would be one way to really help address that.
And the next question I have.
Oh, I can do whatever.
Do you support raising the minimum wage for Floridians? And if so, do you think $15 an hour is a livable wage?
Yes, I do support that, and no, I do not think that $15 is a livable wage. When we had our business, we always started above far above the minimum wage. And I do think that what we need to do is pay people appropriately. And we need to have free health care. I would love to see that, or at least affordable health care. And we need to make sure that when people are working, that they're able to also enjoy life and not just work all the time.
So those were my two questions. I don't know if anybody else had. Oh, I can ask these as well. These questions came from the Democratic Party. If you're elected in November, what will be the very first action or piece of legislation that you want to address and why?
There is so much to address, but I'd probably like to, oh goodness. We do need to really address the home rule situation. We really do need to give the counties the power to make decisions for themselves. But it changes all the time because there's so many different things that I'd like to address.
And the last question I have is, as a state representative, what would you do to address the issues of affordability, including housing and rising insurance costs that Floridians are facing?
I would love to address homeowners insurance and insurance costs in general. I do think that if we could get that $10+ billion in Medicaid funding, that would be amazing. We also need to have affordable homeowners insurance. A couple years ago, my insurance went up by 37% in 1 year. And so, of course, I had to switch homeowners insurance again. And we need to have affordable health care. And there are different ways that we can tackle this, but the legislature has been ignoring this for a very long time.
That's all the questions I have.
Okay. All right. Oh, so do I get this one to June?
And Mark is going to ask you a question.
Hello, Mark Ryder, Vice President, Coast Democratic Club.
Nice to meet you.
Rob, if you are elected in November, what will be the very first action or piece of legislation that you want to address and why?
So, on day one, once I get elected and we get sworn in, I'm going to meet with leadership and hopefully we take back the House and just introduce myself. And then too is that there already some legislation that is being stalled. Some good legislation that will, boost the minimum wage up to $25. There's some legislation that will address the affordability crisis. And so by us taking back this seat and winning and taking back the House, then we can get that out of, being stalled up there because the Speaker of the House don't want to pass that legislation. And so, but one thing is I understand the protocol. I understand the protocol, and me being a freshman congressman, there's a hierarchy, there's protocol. And so that's why I would get up there and learn the ropes. I would get up there and meet people, and I would get up there and really help the legislation that's being stalled. And then in year two, that's when I will push for getting some more affordable housing for this area, push some legislation, push some funding down here for affordable housing, because that American dream of being a first-time home buyer is far, far away now. And nobody should have to live in a hotel. I know some people have to do that, and so my second year, I will make sure that we get some funding down here, going down to the state for affordability.
Very good. Thank you. That's the only question I have.
Okay.
But then I go to Steve Morgan. Steve, I'll ask you the same question. If you are elected in November, what will be the very first action or piece of legislation that you want to address and why?
Well, I want to start by echoing a couple of things that Rob said. I think there's a very good likelihood that one of us is going to defeat Randy Fine in the general election. And I think that we're going to see a blue wave. And I think that we will have control, yes. We will have control of the House of Representatives, and I think it's quite possible, maybe not quite likely, but it's quite possible that we'll get 51 seats in the Senate. So the first thing that we need to do is to actually, you know, the legislature is Article 1 in the Constitution. And right now we're treating it like it's Article like 27, right? And so one of the things we need to do is we need to repeal illegal tariffs. That's just insane. The tariff authority does not rest with the president. The only reason that it's happening right now is because the Republican legislature is a rubber stamp for anything that Donald Trump wants to do. We also need to, and I want to echo another thing that Rob said about affordability, we need to get into the nitty-gritty of what we can do. There are a number of things that are going on right now. We need to reinstate healthcare subsidies for people who can't afford them right now. We need to do whatever we can, you know, hopefully by then the war's over, but who knows with Trump in office. But I think there are a number of things, I think to me the most important things, oh, and here's another really important one. When we take over the House, we then get to run all the committees. So the Epstein files, guess what? You know what? You're under oath now. You're under oath, you're on TV, you're under a camera, and there's going to be none of this like, oh, the Clintons, you know, have to be under oath and everybody else gets to just like go in a back room and mumble, right? So I think that's another important thing. Thank you for the question. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
So we got to keep passing this little mic. Love you, Al.
Ironic. I will ask you the same question as well. If you are elected in November, what will be the very first action or piece of legislation that you want to address and why?
Oh, this easy. Two of them. Ready? First one, actually impeach and convict Trump, get him out of office. 100%. And then the next one is we have to stop this one big ugly bill from being fully enacted in 2027. And I say that because I'm a big healthcare advocate. I worked in EMS for a long time. One of my top priorities is healthcare. I understand affordability, I understand all that other good stuff. But I always say that if you're not on this earth to enjoy these things, what is the point of helping you get your APR down or your gas prices down? And so it starts with healthcare, especially coming from the healthcare field. And so what you guys are feeling right now with the healthcare is just a niche of what's about to happen if we don't take back the House of Congress. Because when this one big ugly bill fully enacts in February 2027, because they were smart, they waited. They waited till it fully enacted during the new year to see if it will, because if they passed it last year, they totally losing. They waited. So those are my two first things I would do.
Thank you very much. Good. Ask you the same question as the other three. If you are elected in November, what will be the very first action or piece of legislation that you want to address and why?
The first thing we have to do is really get into like meeting everybody and getting to know and making those partnerships and building those bridges. That's the really first thing we have to start doing. Like Steve and Rob alluded to, like this will take time. Like we're freshmen in this. So it's not like we're going to be able to pass legislation right away. There's also a ton of legislation that's ready at the 119th Congress right now. We have a Medicare for All bill that's ready to be signed. We need just members to sign on to it. We have a reform for Citizens United ready to go. We have these bills in place, and I'm signing on day one on everything to start getting these projects moving forward. The other big thing that is working through our legislation right now, which we are going to have to address, and I alluded to this earlier, is this passage that is aligning our military with that of the Israeli military and combining the two. And we're not talking about it enough, and that is passing right now, and we're going to have to fight back against it. And that is going to become a huge priority, along with getting these members of Congress or members of our administration held accountable as well.
Thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to Mary Craig.
I don't get to go last?
Yes. How will you address the issue of healthcare accessibility and affordability for all?
Well, we need Medicare for all. We need a single payer system. And that's just a matter of fact of where we have to go with it. And that's what I'll fight for, is a single payer system. I love Bernie Sanders' bill that he has put forth. That is existing right now. And I think if we start getting that out there and communicating why we need that, and putting forth of like, we're already paying for it. You know, we're already paying for health care for our insurance. $1,000 to some people a month. You know, what's that to tax to where everyone will have access to health care? And that's where it's really education about about Medicare for all is what we have to get out there. I think that's the easiest way to do it, is just really fight for a single payer system.
And will you prioritize women's health care?
Yes, there should be no difference, and women's health care should be a priority in that as well, to where women should have access to not just like a basic, oh, here's your gynecologist. Like, it's sad that that's the doctor that you only have specialty, like, I don't know. You should be able to have access to any type of medicine that you need. That's transgender as well. Like being able to have the access to have whatever procedure you need, as far as with trans rights, with women's rights, and being able to have that access is key.
Thank you.
No problem.
Mr. Rivera. And how will you address the issue of healthcare accessibility and affordability for all?
Absolutely. Same. I just answered it last time. I think we all going to advocate for Medicare for all. It is going to take some time because we are going to be new there. But for now, we can fight for those credits that they've taken away from us right now. At least alleviate the pain until we get there. That's the best thing we do. Like I said, everybody deserves health care. Another point is that we can pay for it, because we've been paying for a lot of things in Israel, and they got everything we want. They got a free universal health care over there, and we pay them billions of dollars a year for stuff like education and all the things that we want. So a single payer health care is, I believe that's what all of us are going to say, because I think that's the best option. But it's not going to happen overnight. Getting those credits back, going little by little, Medicare for all. And the plan is to start Medicare for all from, once we get it enacted, once you're born, you get it, and then lowering the age every 5 years so everybody has it. And that's not going to limit, and my plan won't limit you having your employer's health insurance for extra things that you want to do, but it will just give everybody that basic net that people should always, if it's there just in case, because healthcare is a right.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Yes, I can ask you also, would you prioritize women's health care?
Absolutely. It shouldn't, like I said, it shouldn't mean a difference. Everybody deserves health care. Everybody deserves the same thing. And I believe women's decisions belong between them and the doctor, not the government. I mean, that is not our choice. As government officials, we don't make that decision. That's between them and their doctor and their family, and we should stay out of it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Martin.
Yes.
Same question. How will you address the issue of healthcare accessibility and affordability for all?
So I agree with the other gentleman in that a single payer system is an optimal solution. There's no way in hell that Donald Trump's going to sign that. So that would require overriding his veto. It's not going to happen. So in the realm of what I think is the possible, we have to start by reinstating the healthcare subsidies that so many people have lost. That is the number one factor when people are asked about affordability around the country. The number one factor is their healthcare costs and their inability to get adequate healthcare. And if you watch the 60 Minutes back when the show was good, which was about 3 weeks ago. But anyway, but if you watch the 60 Minutes, you saw that there are these clinics now. They were originally started in places like Guatemala and Honduras, and now they're in places like Knoxville, Tennessee. And these are clinics that people go to because they don't have any dental care, they don't have different types of health care, and they go and they wait in their car for like 72 to 96 hours to get in and have somebody help them with their teeth. This is the United States of America. Just think about that. And the other thing that I think we need to do that we're not doing right now is that we have to start reducing the amount of out-of-pocket costs that people are exposed to. Like, what is the point of insurance if you have to pay if you can pay a maximum of like $10,000 or $12,000? What if your net worth, this is true for a large portion of the population, is $5,000, and something catastrophic happens to you and you now owe $10,000 or $12,000, which could literally bankrupt you, it could make you become homeless. And so I think that number one, we'd like to have single payer. Number two, we need to get back the healthcare subsidies. And number three, we need to actually do a better job of requiring certain limitations on the amount of money that people can be expected to pay out of their pocket for their health care.
And you do prioritize women's health care.
Of course I prioritize women's health care. I don't think that any of us are going to disagree with that. Specifically on reproductive rights, I think that we're in a really difficult place right now. We've got to get back the ability to get the Memphis, I'm going to get the name wrong, I'm sorry, but the pills back. That was a step in the right direction. But I also think that, Ronnie mentioned the relationship between the doctor and the patient. And I think that, for doctors, that's sacrosanct. For our government, it's not sacrosanct right now. And I do think that that's an important piece of this as well, is letting women make the decision in consultation with their doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Ms. Cooper, I will ask you, how will you address the issue of healthcare accessibility and affordability for all?
Thank you for the question. This is very personal to me, healthcare and Affordable Care Act, is because if it wasn't for the Affordable Care Act, me being a vet, and I didn't retire, I'm not service connected, and so before the Affordable Care Act, I couldn't utilize the VA. But when President Obama did the Affordable Care Act, he made sure that veterans that got out, had an honorable discharge, that they were able to utilize the VA, and it saved my life twice. And then it's real personal to me because my wife was utilizing the Affordable Care Act and using the insurance out of the marketplace. But because they pulled those subsidies out, that it skyrocketed the premium. And now, luckily that there is a provider inside of Marion County that, do the subscription base. But then too is I'm a chairman for a federally qualified healthcare center called Langley Health Center, and they're really in the rural communities. And as the next congressman, I want to make sure that we have money going out to these community health centers that are out there working with that out there serving the underserved population. And then too is once I get up there is seeing what the Democratic leadership want to do about the Affordable Care Act. Because we do have a president that got 2 more years that if we take the House back and we take the Senate back, then he is not going to sign anything that we try to put forth. So maybe we can sit down and talk to the Republicans and see what we can come to the middle when it comes to affordable health care. And because we got to get people healthy, because health is wealth, and once a person is healthy, they are more productive in our society and they contribute to the economy. But when they can't have access to it, then that's where, the morbidities happen and people get sick, and then mental health and all those other things happen. So, and then on your next question,
And how will you prioritize women's health care?
I have 5 sisters, and my leadership team is all women, and so that's a top priority for me, because I feel that they are rolling back so much stuff, and they are really stripping this 14th Amendment, and women right now feeling like they're trying to take them back to an age where women were, they really want our women to be just in the kitchen and not be out there being the leaders that they are. And so I don't know why we're debating about what to do, what women do with their body, because nobody's telling me what to do with my body. And so I don't have a right as a man to tell my wife that she can't have a pap smear, she can't do all this stuff. That's her choice. And so I will prioritize that, and that will be my #1 thing.
been passing the mic back and forth a lot, haven't we? So since he has the mic, let's give Rob his final 2 minutes to wrap up and say something else he'd like to say. And Ken has your card back there. You may not know it, everybody, but Ken back there has been flashing cards so that the candidates know how long they need to speak. So thanks a lot, Ken. And Rob, you're on for your final wrap-up.
Thank you, Jan, and thanks for having me. And I'm very grateful to be running for office, and I don't take this lightly. And I have met a lot of wonderful people doing this process, and I have learned a lot. And so I know that we have a very important midterm coming up, and we have a congressman that is not representing all of us. And it's time for a change. And so one thing about me is this, that I'm not a politician, I'm one of you. I understand the struggle. I had to be on food stamps. I understand going to pick berries so I can have Christmas for my kids. I understand that struggle. And I worked my way up to be able to give back to people and give them a career. I went to school, I got my bachelor's, I'm going on to my MBA and get my DBA, and I would not be doing that if people did not help me. And I would not be standing here if people did not pour into me, if that pastor did not come in that jail and tell me that I was enough. And if the people that, when I started my nonprofit, that really helped me, and then to my mentor, at a great senator that just termed out, he showed me what it was possible. A man that been through substance use, a man that really, served 19 years in the Florida House and the Senate. And so he showed me what was possible. And so I want to do that, and I want to represent all people. And I will do this job with integrity. I will do this job honest, and I will come back, and I will not get missing. And I will listen to you, because we need people to listen to us and we need to be seen. And that's not what's happening right now. I got to this race because I was frustrated like you all. I felt not seen. I seen things going back to a time that I don't recognize, and I don't want that to happen for my kids and my grandkids. So this is so important, and I would not be standing here if it wasn't for you all that paid the way for me to do this, and all your hard work, knocking on doors, canvassing, making calls, and you didn't know a little guy like me was going to be here in 2026 to run for office. So I just want to say thank you, and I love your support.
www.morganforcongress.us. Start with the important stuff so I don't forget this later. A couple of things that I didn't get to cover before that I'd like to talk about right now. First of all, how am I getting the word out? I'm doing something called Walk for Change. I'm about a little bit more than halfway through it. I'm going to every single city of a population of 1,500 or more in the district. I park downtown. Usually that's right next to the courthouse. And I get out and I've got a blue backpack, and I have a bunch of flyers and a bottle of water in there. And I spend the afternoon or the morning walking around downtown. I go into small, independent, local businesses. I introduce myself to them, and I ask them what they'd like to see better or different from their federal government. And boy, do I get an earful. There's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of talk about tariffs. People are not, the businesses that had to pay those tariffs up front are not getting the money back. The money is going to the brokers, the importers, the regional people, and so that's money that's not coming back to them. The other thing I want to talk about, because I'm only a short amount of time right now, is we haven't talked enough about Randy Fine tonight. So just a few points. Randy Fine is a congressperson without constituents. So I want you to think about that for a minute. The word constituent means parts of the same whole. That's the root of the word. He's not part of our same whole. He lives in District 8. We live in District 6. There are 7 districts closer to Randy Fine's home than this district. He's a carpetbagger. He chose this district because apparently he thinks that we're so meek and mild that he can just kind of ride into town. And by the way, other than an arranged event, has anybody ever seen Randy Fine in this district? He spends all his time in Washington, D.C. and Melbourne Beach. He's never actually here. And so think about this. When Randy Fine gets his ballot, okay, whether he votes in person or by mail. His name is not on his ballot. Think about that for a minute. He can't vote for himself. So I think that's kind of a rare situation. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
My last 2 minutes, I just want to reiterate that this is a very important election. I talk about Randy Fine a lot too, but it's more about, my whole campaign is about people. We have built a good coalition of young, strong people and people who's eager to get to work and change our country. This is a very important election. So I don't want to sit up here and talk about me because I'll talk all day. I want to talk about y'all. Make sure you're registered to vote. They're doing some things that are not normal. Well, this Florida, nothing is normal. But still, I've heard people call me and said, I just re-registered last month and I got a new driver's license and they don't match up, so they're saying I can't vote. Just do those things. But also remember that you need somebody that can win. And my history has proven I stood up for families and people my entire life, and my track record will prove that I can win. We can win this together. We have a strong crew behind us, and we're going to get it done. So make sure you guys check out my website, runforcongress.com. Come sign up if you want. I got free literature, free yard signs, whatever you guys want to take with you, because even if you can't come out and walk with us, a phone call, having a yard sign in your yard does so much for us. And even if you can donate a little bit, because I agree with Steve Morgan that we have to get that bigoted monster out of Congress, because he is not only embarrassing us as a district in the state, but the country as a whole, because he's attacking every single person who he don't agree with, and even trying to take land from our allies. It's going to take years to build our relationship back because of the things that Trump and this guy allowed to happen. And we need somebody that can get in there and stop that in his face, and I believe I'm that person, so thank you. I didn't forget it.
All right. Well, first off, this is amazing. You know, the fact that we have 4 people running for the Democrat ticket of District 6, like that is absolutely amazing, and that is going to really drive some great change this year. If all 4 of us are trying to rally up a base, I can't wait to see who comes out to vote. I'll just say that this year. Look, we all need help. I need help. So I'm looking for volunteers. I'm looking for anyone that wants to get active, whether you want to knock on doors, make phone calls, postcards, talk to people, whatever you want to do, I could use the help for this. We can win. We will win. And it's going to start in this room. It's going to start with all of us making a conversation with somebody that maybe we haven't had a conversation with in a long time. We have to start talking to our neighbors again, start talking to our coworkers, our family members that maybe we haven't spoke to in a while. That's how we're going to push this. You know, people ask, how are we going to step up to Randy Fine? It's communicating. It's talking to one another again and actually starting to bridge those gaps, because quite honestly, we're all in this boat together and we're all suffering together. And we have to start acknowledging and bringing people back in. A lot of people have left the Democrat Party and moved over, whether to affect and change their vote, have some type of voice. Let's bring those people back in. Let's bring them back and let's them see that there's actual chance to make change this year. And it's starting here, and I really want to thank everyone for being a part of it. So yonceforcongress.com, YONCEFOR, Congress.com. That's where you can find everything. I have some stuff here, but thank you all for your time. I really appreciate it today.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Double duty. All right.
Shocker! So, a couple people have asked me kind of how my journey started running for office. And it started going to county commissioner meetings in St. Johns County. I got really frustrated with the overdevelopment. So I went to the meetings and I was complaining about the big developers who are making the big shopping centers. They would plant trees in plastic pots. And then after the inspection's over, bam, they take them out. That really pissed me off. And it really does. And so I started looking into the situations that we're seeing in Florida. And it all goes down to home rule that I said earlier is really disappearing. And the problem is that Tallahassee is taking that away from us. And so we don't have the ability to make the decisions about our counties. And we really, truly need to restore that. I also just want to say that, of course, I'm pro-choice. We need to have the same healthcare. Whatever healthcare women need, we need it. I hate fighting with my doctor. I hate trying to get the care that I need. I've had to go to the state to actually fight the health insurance companies so that I can get care, which is absolutely beyond appalling. So we really just need the legislators to actually work for us, but we have to break the supermajority and the majority. So we need to elect people who really care about making a difference for the people in the state of Florida. So if you're in the district, I would love to have your vote. I'd love to have your support. You can go to my website, you can go grab a t-shirt and wear it wherever you go. And if you have questions, go to my website and ask. If I failed to mention something, address something, let me know. Because I really am here because I'd like to represent everybody in Florida. And I hope to hear from you. So thank you for your time.
Are we lucky or what? Come on up here, all of you. We have one more question that a guest tonight is pretty serious about asking. I don't know who has our little thingy. And the question is, because it's offensive that Randy Fine does, evidently accepts money from the pro-Israel lobby. Is that something that any of you would do? I don't know if this is a question for you or not.
No, I will not accept any money from AIPAC or any foreign lobby whatsoever. This is ruining our country, and we need to bring our country back, and that means standing and having you all fund me, not AIPAC.
I completely agree. I have not accepted any money from any PAC so far, but that doesn't mean that there aren't PACs out there that would pass some kind of critical test, but I would vet any PAC before I accept money from them, and I would not accept money from AIPAC.
No, I'm not taking money from AIPAC, and the only PAC that I took money from was March on PAC, and things have to align with my morals and my values, and I think about you all when I decide on where I take money from. And a lot of my donors come from working class people that can only send $1, can only do $5. And I really appreciate that because it's frustrating to see how much money is in politics. And like I said, I'm not gonna be bought paid. I don't do it now. I'm not gonna do it when I get to DC. So I will not take AIPAC money.
Absolutely, I do not take and will not ever accept the AIPAC money. The only money that we accept is from the people who work in class, and also, I also vow not to take money from big corporations because we need to take that money out of these corporations and abolish Citizens United, because they are not people, we are people, corporations are not people, so that's why.
So I kind of dropped the ball on that one. So I am taking donations, small donations through via ActBlue. I will not take big corporate money. I will also not take AIPAC money. I am Jewish. But basically, I just want to try to get the money out of politics. And I do love what Hawaii just did. If you guys are unaware, check it out. It's a way to help circumvent Citizens United.